guest tonight is astrologer Shelley Overton. How are you?
Hello. Hi, all.
What's that?
I said hi, all.
Yes. What to talk about tonight? There's a lot going on, yet there's nothing going on. Everything. Oh, how the world has changed. Did you watch any of them? The Ruth Bader Ginsburg was moved into the Capitol today. Did you see any of that?
I only saw it on print online, so, or what I call print, basically just articles. And I saw it. Well, I did have a YouTube, or not a YouTube, an Instagram friend who was moved to tears with that. And I think that moved you to tears too, didn't it? Or was I mistaken?
It did, and this is the second day that I've watched it. The reporters cried, and then if I wasn't already choked up enough, when you hear them. But I have such reverence for Washington D.C. and really have such respect for the institution of everything that goes on there. And it just she was just a great, great woman. And it makes me sad to know that she didn't want to go when she did. But
yes, and I'm she really kind of rose to prominence as far as the common awareness of Ruth Bader Ginsburg in the last few years. And I mean, I watched late night talk shows, and she's been on those, and I know she's an amazing woman, was an amazing woman. She actually started working out after one of her recent bouts. I think it was with cancer. I know she had some other issues, but yeah, she started working out. And I don't know if you saw today, her personal trainer did 3 push-ups at her coffin, and that was very moving and amazing. Very powerhouse, little petite package, very much a powerhouse. So
one of the most moving things that ever happened to me that meant a lot to me was when my daughter was in, I believe it was kindergarten. So that would have been about 2000. And I took her with me to vote. And it was in a church. So everybody was a little bit more hushed than usual because, everybody's trying to be quiet because you're in a sanctuary. No connection. So we went in and I was explaining to her how everything went. And she was so interested and just enraptured by it. And it was a presidential election year. I said, I'm going to press that button because you flick switches then.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, and I'll let you. And then later, I'm going to tell you why I voted for who I did. So she thought it was the coolest thing. And then we were leaving. I remember we were going through the glass doors. And then I said, and do you know what? 80 years ago, I couldn't have voted. And she said, why not? And I said, because we're women. And I remember her face dropped open. To make a long story short, she graduated from UT Knoxville with a degree in political science and is now working in law. And, I can't say that moment did it for her, but she also just has such respect. But when you look at, in just a short amount of time, how far women have come and the things that she's done, especially being Jewish. And, we know in the last 100 years, even, all the different challenges that just so many of us have faced. And so anyway, that's it. I can just celebrate her life and, not be sad.
Yeah. And I think it's really powerful to see the power that she presented and the position she presented being on the Supreme Court and really drawing attention to the value of that particular body in our government. And so,
have you ever looked at her astrology or has anyone?
Yeah, I did it today on my podcast. Well, yesterday, I should say. I'm actually uploading it. I just got the video part of it processed. And after this podcast is over, I guess it's a live stream. After the live stream is over, I'm going to upload it to my YouTube channel.
Okay. And we'll give the, I've got your website here. I'll actually put it up. We'll put it up again later on. But if people go to your website, can they find your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just calling up her chart actually on my computer because I had it already up for doing some editing. Yeah, you can, if you go to angeliczodiac.com, there's always the updated podcast on that. And I think that the audio one I have to upload, but the video automatically does, or vice versa. So there's always one or the other, either live, not live, pardon me, the audio or the video is always there, current. So the other one I have to manually do. But yeah, you can get it there. And also the links to YouTube are there. So even if it's not current, you can click on the video. It'll take you to YouTube. So
Okay, good.
yeah.
So can you give us just a little brief?
Sure. She was really interesting. So I don't know what time she was born. And so having seen her recently, and I'll tell you, this is a little astrology about it. She had a widow's peak, and people look like their rising sign, like each rising sign, each sign of the zodiac has attributes. And Aries has a widow's peak. And so I go by that, like say Scorpio has really intense eyes, or, Taurus rules the throat, so they have a broader throat, or maybe beauty for women, like extreme beauty, not just like, oh yeah, she's pretty, but like really beautiful, because they're ruled by Venus. Since she had this widow's peak, I gave her an Aries rising, and that really speaks well to what her life was about, because she had the planet Uranus in her first house, which is alternative ways of being. And I have chills with this. I spoke about her earlier on the podcast, like I said, and I got chills at the same point. Uranus is a very powerful planet in the sky that brings us alternative methodology or unusual circumstances. And being that she was one of the rare women on the Supreme Court, and even one of the rare circumstances where she got to a position of authority within her field, and really, in a way, broke the glass ceiling, that energy in her first house resonates strongly. And then Aries rising would give her this really powerful way of standing up for herself, and not really, it's kind of like playing with the big boys, not backing down from issues. And she was a Pisces, though, which gave her sympathy and compassion and empathy. And let's see, she had 3 planets in Virgo, which is a feminine energy, and a teacher, and an example of service and work. And that was in her house of children. So, and the other really cool thing I noticed is she has a Scorpio moon, and her Scorpio moon is only 3 degrees off of my Scorpio moon. And it falls in this chart in her 8th house of politics and legalities and law. So her heart and how she looked at her passions and her security were very closely associated with law and politics and commitment. She was a very committed woman. And I know that she started many, many years ago, when she first started her career, really championing women's issues. And so reading the list, did you read the list of all the things she accomplished?
No.
I mean, it was just like getting women, I think we talked about it the other day, of being able to sign off on your own loan for a house, or not have to have a man on the title for your own property, or even a credit card. I mean, it's just,
that was the 60s that was the case. Yeah.
Just significant forward momentum for women. And the interesting thing is, she did it by representing men. And I know that one of the cases she took, it was about a man who needed, he was getting discriminated against because I believe he was either a caretaker. Yeah, he was a caretaker. And he was getting discriminated against. So she got this anti-discrimination policy based on your gender for what you do, which of course translated for women as well in traditional male jobs. So that was really an amazing mind and way to really go about taking care of it. Very Uranian, which would be a strong energy in her chart.
So you and I are very close in age, except you're much older. You're 3 weeks older than I. Thank you.
5 days. Yeah.
But we remember being born right at that moment, when women still wore a dress and a girdle to stay home all day and take care of the house, to getting jobs, and then, being more accepted, really kind of coming into their own age. And that to me, that's again why I have such respect, because I remember what it was like. So, it's just amazing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, you're going to be doing a few readings later for people. So while we were talking, I just wanted to let people know that if they get picked for a little reading with you, they'll need to give you their birth date and their time. Is that all?
Birthday, place, and time.
Birthday, place, and time. Okay, so we'll call for that in a little while. So if people want to get that ready, and what if people don't know the time that they were born?
So if you don't know the time, I usually do a sunrise chart, and my program on my computer automatically will enter it if I just tell it sunrise. And so wherever you're born in the world, it automatically knows what sunrise is. And so I'll just input that. And it just makes the sun the rising sign. So whatever sun sign you are, obviously when the sun's on the eastern horizon at the moment you're born, or when the sun comes up the day you're born, it'll tell me a lot about you.
Right. Okay. I'm trying to think what else is going on in the news. So our governor in Florida decided to just throw the doors open. COVID's over. We can do whatever we want. There's not going to be any more repercussions. And
what about masks? Have they done, like in Orlando? Did they say?
What he said is that you can require people to wear masks, but you can't enforce it. Basically, you can't fine people or. And then similarly, if restaurants get COVID or something like that, they can't be shut down.
So they're not going to do every other table now? Because I know I've been out. My parents, oh my gosh.
100%. Theme parks can go back to capacity. Now, that wasn't new, though. He said that a couple weeks ago, but the theme park said, I'm not really sure everybody's going to come back,
That's honestly what I'm hoping for now. And I think people, because they're getting tired of being restricted, little by little, they're going to get more lax. And I already feel that that's coming. But I'm hoping that corporations won't say, and, keep in mind that this is one state, and there are a lot of businesses that are across the country and managed from another location that say, no, you still have to have this in place because it's just Florida. So I'm hoping that and my personal opinion is that we really do need to be vigilant still until there is better understanding and a vaccine or a cure or whatever it would be. It's not now. And as an astrologer, it's probably going to be a good portion of next year as well. We need to be more vigilant, and the numbers will go up. So I'm just real sad to hear that our health is not as important anymore. And I really am adamant, being a Virgo in astrology, Virgo rules health and hygiene. It's important beyond belief to respect this type of situation. I mean, it's a pandemic. It's not just Florida, not just Orlando, but it's global. So to just sit there and say, oh yeah, go ahead. It's just like, why are you doing this to us? Because now it's going to give more people the ability to say, too bad, I'm not going to wear it. And I already stress out going in Target. So I'm probably not going to go out as much anymore. Amazon's going to get more of my business, unfortunately.
Well, fortunately, it's cooler outside, so we can dine al fresco outside. I'll look for patios. But we've got Spirit Fest coming up. We've got 2 in October, one in Sarasota, the 9th and 10th, and then we've got Melbourne. And I purposely undersold the booths just so that we can have wider aisles, unless people were going to be diffusing essential oils in there and doing just be mindful. That's all.
Give space, just there's no need to be right on top of each other.
Just like it was any other flu season, really, that's just what I think that we should do. Well, 2 Christmases in a row, I got very sick with a 3-week bronchial thing because working at the theme park like I was, people come sick. They've already made their plans. They've got their flights. They don't want to miss it. So they come sick and they don't really care. And each Christmas they were coughing and hacking, and you just knew as they crossed your path that it was not good. So I found some really.
I was just going to say, it's a level of respect for other people. It's really being respectful of those around you. And it has nothing to do with your belief in any particular party. It's really just common manners that you don't cough straight out at someone. You cover your mouth. If there's a pandemic, just give space. I mean, you don't want to get sick either, do you? So anyway, I can rant. I don't want to rant. I want to keep it light.
Well, we take a risk whenever we go, like to a sporting event or something like that anyway. And I guess in the end, I'm just hoping that we'll all learn to be a little bit more careful, with who we're making sick when we go out when we're not feeling well and things like that.
Be
So
careful of who you make sick, people. Come on.
yeah, if 1% of the population is dying from this, we've had 200,000 deaths in the United States.
Yeah.
I understand
And
1%
more, I'm
is
sure.
not a lot, but I don't want to choose 1% of my family and friends to be the ones that pass away. So, when you look at it that way, but I understand, about the economy. We don't want to do, what happened before, but not knowing, I understand how and why it happened.
I think there are workarounds for the economy for sure. We've already managed to have some good workarounds. I mean, I was definitely on edge going out to a restaurant for the first time, but the ones that I've been to have made, with a minor exception of one or two, they've made the attempt to seat people every other booth. They wipe the tables down. Most of them wipe the menus down. I just had one restaurant last week hand us the regular menu. And I don't know that they're wiping them down in between each person, So I think that when it's conscientious and they recognize that they have to go the extra mile, that's okay. And I wear my mask even after I've sat down until the lady who's taken, or the man who's taken the order, until the foods come. If I can, I'll keep my mask on out of respect for what they're putting themselves through. I mean, they've got families too.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the one giving them something.
All right. Let's call out to the viewers that are listening. If you would like to, now, will they ask you a question, or will you just look at their chart and you'll pick something out?
It can be either way. If they're open to whatever I see, sometimes I do have people say, well, just tell me what you see. And when I look at charts, I can see things pop out at me, and, clusters of planets or something that will be coming that's hitting a cusp between the house of health and the house of romance, or marriage, right, partnership. So I can see things, but if there's a specific question, I can look into that too.
Okay, so if you are interested in a reading, just put it in the comments. We're streaming live on Facebook and on our YouTube channel, and we've got viewers in both of those places. So, and I do know, Shelley, that there's a lag of at least 30 seconds if you ask a question before people respond. So if you, in this particular format, if you ask for feedback, know that it might be a second. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you the fantastic crystal that I got.
Hold that up to the camera. I want to see that. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Look at that. Tell us again what kind of crystal.
So the darker spots are actually red. I noticed the light's not exactly showing it. And then the blue is kyanite, and then the green is fusite. So it's ruby, kyanite, fusite. And it's one of the few stones that actually work on emotional, mental, and physical. So it's a true mind, body, spirit stone. It's the first stone that I've ever actually just ordered, that I read about what it does, and I just felt like that is a really powerful stone. So
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's really amazing.
All right. Anything else? Have you been listening to anything? Any channelers or anything going on right now?
Yeah, I've shared one of my favorites with you. Her name is Amanda Ellis. And Amanda is a British psychic and medium, and she has her own company, which is really cool because she's got color spray bottles. And what she does is she creates different scents and formulas with beautiful smells, but also she infuses energy and angelic vibration into each color. And so she does color therapy based on her spray bottles. And so that's her business. And then she also does readings on YouTube and reads angel cards and tarot. And she's just really good. And she hears, so she works with Archangel Metatron. And so I've been watching a lot of her. And honestly, through the whole lockdown, she's really given me a lot of calmness about kind of the overview of how it is from the other side, so to speak. And she's just really good about guiding you through the understanding of really how to get back in your own center and ask for angelic help, and what might be some of the reasons why things are happening. And another really cool thing that she does is she has what she is calling the Heart Squad, and it's all the people who have been popular in the 80s and passed over. So Princess Diana, Prince, Michael Jackson. She's got John Lennon. She's got, who else? Elvis is in the group, and
Wow.
she channels them in different videos. She just channeled George Michael this week, and she did a love soulmate kind of reading with George Michael coming in, and she talks. You can hear them, so
She's on YouTube.
pretty cool. Pardon me?
She's on YouTube.
Yeah, she's on YouTube under Amanda Ellis, ELLAS, and
Okay.
yeah, she's pretty fun. I like her.
All right. Well, that sounds like it would be interesting to check her out. I'm going to put up one of the readings here, Nicole.
Okay.
And there's her info.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, and then I am going to let you have the screen there, and I'm going to go see why my puppy is barking. I'll be right back.
No. Okay, so I'll carry on here for a minute. Yeah, I don't know. She didn't really say anything about it, but I've done a podcast for 11 years. And when I first started, I actually did a podcast on CBS Radio with a psychic named Lisa J. Smith. And so that is kind of how I got into the whole podcasting realm. And so I've basically done my own podcasting. I started out on Blog Talk Radio myself, and I'm actually doing your chart, Nicole, right now while I'm talking. So I was able to really get good at doing multitasking. So I'm just gonna real quick put in your information and continue on telling you a little bit about myself. But yeah, so I was on Lisa's show, and I was on her show for about a year. And then she just had, it was kind of at the time, I think it was 2010, when a lot of what was going on with the economy made it more difficult for her to, they took away her producer on the show. And so she was not really able to continue producing with me on the show. So because she had to stop doing it with me, I ended up really enjoying what I was doing. And so what I did was I started my own podcast on Blog Talk. And I was there for 10 years and just recently moved over to SoundCloud. So if you're listening, you can get me at angeliczodiac.com, which is my website, but I'm also on SoundCloud at Astrology, and that is my podcast name. So, okay, I don't know if she's going to come back to do this reading, but because you're watching and I've done your chart, let me just real quick pair up your chart with what's going on in the sky now, and I'll just give you the straight up reading while we're sitting here. See if I can find, there it is. Okay, awesome. I've got a little chart for current time, and I just created your chart, Nicole, and so I'll be able to read off of that. Okay, I might even, I don't really have an attractive background to show you, so I'm gonna rotate myself a little bit here. And I just threw away my keyboard. So I'm gonna look at the screen, and hopefully it isn't too distracting to have me looking over here. But yeah, when Mary Ellen, oh, I was gonna say, when you come back, you can ask her if she has a question. I was just gonna give her a general reading, unless she has a question.
Nicole, you have a question? She didn't put anything up there, but
okay.
You can share the screen.
I can probably guess what it is she wants to know about.
Okay.
Because, you know, charts generally emphasize what's going on. And for Nicole, the huge emphasis are in two areas and a little bit with Mercury going in the first house and then in the second, which is romance. So Mercury is going retrograde. It'll get to Scorpio in your second house of romance and money. But, well, it's not romance technically. I consider it like romance because it's couples. And the second house is ruled by Venus. So when I look at your second house, it rules the physicality of things and values. And you can run into a partner or someone who you choose to be in couple with when planets go through your second house. So currently Mercury is going to be going into your second house, which by the beginning of October, you'll have Mercury there. I think it goes in within a couple days, actually, not too far. Monday is the full moon in Aries. And then I think right around that same time, we have Mercury go into Scorpio, maybe even Sunday. 3 days, yeah, because Mercury moves 1 day per degree and it's at 27. So in 3 days, it'll be in a new sign. So when it goes into Scorpio, that means that you'll get much more emotional. Your psychology, just a heads up, you might be a little depressed because in all of us who are more susceptible to the Scorpio energy, which I am guilty, I'm one of those, and Mary Ellen has a little bit of it in her chart, we're going to be more susceptible to the depth of emotion. And that usually expresses as depression only because we go deep. And so it brings down the energy. And when we bring down the energy for you, the energy will be in your house of love and money. And so you may be more concerned about what's going on with money at that time, and wanting more commitment in money situations, and with a love partner or potential partner. Excuse me there for a minute. So yeah, Mercury is about understanding and analysis and seeking solutions. So for the month, because it's going to be actually probably a little longer than that, Mercury will be in Scorpio for, I would say, about a week, and then it goes back into Libra. And because Mercury retrogrades next week, I believe, or around the, maybe a little bit later than that. No, the 13th, I'm sorry. Okay, so it gets fairly good into, almost 10 degrees into Libra, or Scorpio, excuse me, retrogrades. And before Mercury is done with the 3-week retrograde, and it's right around Halloween, I believe, it'll go back into Libra and then go direct and then hit Scorpio again. So you're really experiencing this dabbling between wanting balance in your life, wanting to know there's someone out there, or having a person who is in your life, but maybe you're shifting how you view it. Because right now Mercury is squaring the stellium or cluster of Capricorn planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, there is difficulty in balance and relationships, and it could potentially also influence money or how you see your personal value. And so know that that's here. And also there's an opposite energy for Mercury right now, which is Mars at 26 degrees of Aries. So there's what we call a T-square in the sky, and that just means planets are, let me see if I can get this right. It's like planets are here, and then a planet down here, which makes a giant T in the sky. And that means that we've got two opposing bodies and then one that squares both the other two. And in this case, the one at the bottom squaring the other two opposite is Capricorn. So there's a lot of Capricorn energy, and that is structure and career. And this is kind of what happens when I do astrology readings, is I talk very fast because there's a lot of information I want to get out, and it helps to do a longer reading. But for you, I would say right now, identity and how you see yourself and your value, and then going into money and love. And from there, excuse me, you also have some energy with a partner that may be more assertive, and you're feeling maybe a bit more impatient or angry with someone significant in your life. And then at the bottom, home and family is really being influenced by all the energy we've been feeling this whole year around COVID, around governmental issues and politics and everything that the Capricorn energy is really kicking up. So that's in your house of home and family. And that just means a lot of strong shifts around how you see yourself, what your value is, and learning to pay attention to your needs first so you can help others. So a lot of information there.
Very good. Okay. And this is recorded, so you can go back and listen to this too. I am going to put up information on Emily and Donna. So if both of you could comment and just let me know that you're still there. But I'm going to put up Emily's information here. And thank you very much, Shelley, for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I love doing this.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, there's so many different things too. There are presidents that actually had astrologers that would, they would help decide when they should sign contracts, or, you know, try to do certain negotiations in that. There's so many different things that astrology can tell you.
I was mentioning, I think I mentioned it to you, I might have mentioned it to my dad, that Washington, D.C. was actually laid out on the constellation of Virgo to be of service. So it goes way back, and I know the Masons, who were a strong organization with the founding fathers, they were believers in astrology. So it is everywhere. You don't
Yeah.
realize how much
Right.
it influences us. So
Right.
yeah, I see her information. I'm just going to grab my little keyboard here and try and set her up real quick.
I told you, Shelley, when we first met that I actually had a book. In fact, I think the book is still here somewhere. I kept it just sort of for emotional value, but I was in high school and I did my first chart by literally a book.
Yeah,
I did it by hand and it took forever. So
yes.
thank goodness for technology.
Old school, because I was 12 years old when I started astrology. So I mean, it's up to you if you want to share how old we are, but let's say we're over 50. And so I've been doing this over 40 years and studying for over 40 and doing it professionally for 30 and beyond since the 80s. So, I mean, that kind of tells you just how old we are. Okay, I just have to get the time real quick here, and then I can do a reading for lovely Emily. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I'm going to just put her name in here so I don't lose who I'm doing it for. Whoops, got the wrong window. There we are. Hi, Emily. Good to see you and talk to you. Well, I see you on your cute little photo. And I wish it were brighter in here. I'm sorry. Maybe I should turn towards
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Then you get to see all the clutter. Is that going to be?
No,
yeah, there. That's a little bit better, maybe. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I actually think I had her information. I could have just grabbed, but that's okay. Here we go. Let's see what we see. Do we have a question?
What do you think, Emily? Do you have a question? She asked earlier if you could just take a peek at her chart.
Okay, a peek. Got it. I'm sorry. I'm probably clunking and making noises over here just because the setup I have for this computer and then the keyboard for that computer, there's no space really. It's on my lap and it's really tight. So I'm just trying to maneuver everything. Okay, so I'm going to just do this a little bit so people don't lose my face while I'm reading. Did she have a question?
No, she just asked for you to.
Okay, so the focus of all the stellium of Capricorn planets is really interesting for you, Emily, because you've got Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn. And I actually just had a reading for someone today that had a birthday not far from you. So it was a very similar placement of the transits of the Capricorn planets. So you're really being called kind of almost an awakening right now to really be who you're supposed to be through a community and your desires, your deepest dreams. All of the planets going across Capricorn have been hitting your Uranus-Neptune conjunction, which means they're both at 19 degrees of Capricorn, which is extremely powerful. It means that the ideas drop into your head. You have, I got chills with this, you have this understanding of, and actually it's in your house of children as well, and romance and creativity. So there's this childlike quality that you really resonate to. And I want to even say, I know, I don't know if you're a fan of Taylor Swift, but she has the Capricorn in the same house. And you've got 2 planets there. She has 4 planets there, I believe. So it's very powerful placement for creative expression and really doing something that lasts a long time and has resonance for a generation and for even beyond just your generation. You can create something that really goes a long way out into society, and chills everywhere with that. So what I'm telling you really resonates to the energy. Currently, Jupiter is about to hit those planets for the last time. He retrograded over them. First he went over them, then he retrograded back over them, and now he's going the final pass. He just turned direct. So Jupiter is expansion, which just means that you are going to have this huge awakening and expansion of energy around structure and association to creativity and getting a vision of what you want to have happen come manifest. And because you still have 17 degrees of Aquarius in your creative house, you also have a lot of energy coming in that's going to light you up as a generational aspect, meaning you're going to have this awakening of Aquarius energy, which is clarity. And it's happening in December. So Jupiter goes into Aquarius December 19th. and Saturn goes into Aquarius December 17th here in Orlando. And so you're going to have this huge infusion and awakening of clarity and a push to a new understanding of how everything works together in community with your friends and romance. So there is an opportunity, tremendous opportunity for romance. And what happens when planets move from one sign to another is they, especially Saturn. So Saturn goes through the signs and he restricts, he pulls back and holds back. And he'll go through a house and he'll do the same thing. And the house is different areas of our lives. So when he goes to a new sign or goes to a new house, he releases the restriction on the place you were. And for you, he has been going through romance in Capricorn. So it's been restrictive. It's been a time of awakening to something more in your dream. And I can tell you, anything that happens to you in this last year is for your own good, ultimately, that you're not resonating to the people who go away from your life. I've had that same thing happen. I've lost friends or removed myself from some friends because it was too difficult and it was dragging me down like an anchor. It just wasn't feeling good or comfortable anymore. And so you've had that with other situations in your life. So anyone who is leaving your life is doing so because your vibrations are not equal anymore. And as you move forward, you're going to start to resonate a higher vibration and bring in people that are much more clear about what they want, much more guided by spirit. Chills all over for this again, that you are really, your generation and those after you, especially around the millennium change, have strong Aquarius energy in your charts to wake up to a new communal identity that gets us all connected to the globe, but also makes us aware of how our actions affect everybody else. And this is really a time of understanding, kind of setting us up for the time when other planets go into Pisces, which will be in your lifetime. It'll be at the end of my lifetime, but it will be still in the meat of your lifetime. And the Pisces energy, especially Pluto and Pisces, is really a breaking down of barriers emotionally and energetically between people. And it really is an awakening of an understanding how we are all so connected that now we feel other people's feelings and read other people's minds. And it is going to get like that. I mean, people are probably going, what? I have a Saturn in Pisces, and I can tell you I also have Neptune and Moon in Scorpio, and Pluto rules Scorpio. So the Pluto energy with Pisces that happens around the late 30s will be a very strong bonding time for the globe because we are really going towards that. So the Pluto and Aquarius energy starting in 24 will really start ramping us up to awakening that we are all part of the same collective. And so you're really looking towards an awakening around romance and children. And the energy of children doesn't necessarily mean you want children or are going to immediately have children. But, and I will tell you, there is potential adoption of children in your chart as well. So sorry about that. I just thought I'd give you as much as I could until Mary Ellen popped back in.
All right, so no pressure, Emily, but you need to save the world.
Yeah, we'll save the world now, but it's going to be through creativity and keeping that childlike wonderment that you have, like this real love of, you know, there's a whole generation of people who really are into cosplay and anime and all that. They brought their youth into their adulthood, and you know, those are your peers. Those are the people that really help move you forward in your life. So I think you're going to have more of that in your life as you go on. So yeah, and you've got Neptune just in your house of marriage and partnership. It is retrograde, so it's going to dabble right on the cusp, but you are heading into a time where you can meet someone who is really just melded with you. Like, I would almost say and warn you, potentially codependent, because that's what that is. It's a breakdown of barriers with you and a partner. So this could be someone who is like, oh my gosh, I feel past life karma and past lives with this person, but the barriers are really hard to define between you and that person. So yeah, just be aware that that is a strong inclination coming in for you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that.
You're
And
welcome.
I put up, she says, thank you. I
Oh, you're
put up
welcome.
your website again so people can go to your website here while they're listening to you and check out a little bit more. And then I'm going to put up Donna's information here.
Awesome. Okay, Donna, gotcha. That's the Italian Donna. The Italian way to spell it is what I mean. Okay, let me just get I've had such a difficult time this week. I mentioned it on my podcast. All of my computer and keyboard things are so sensitive right now, like sensitive in a negative way, you know, like they're not doing what I need them to do. I'm like, would you please just let me put this in so I can do, and I have to hold my keyboard up to get this information to be registered by the Wi-Fi. For some reason, I have a Wi-Fi keyboard. And I was like, come on. I'm jumping through hoops electronically. But my chart is very strong in technical issues with Virgo, the ruler of Virgo's Mercury. So I really get a lot of nuances that hit me, honestly. But okay, if you want to ask me anything, or she has a specific question. She's got a New Year's baby right now. Pardon me?
She said anything.
Anything. Okay, well, I've got anything. I have a plethora of anything, trust me. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm down to the last things I have to put in. Let me just make sure it knows where you're born, and hopefully it won't force me to reinsert your birthday. Yes, good job. Okay. Another, like I said, quirks of my computer. Okay, 2, swap, and we're good. And I forgot to bring water. Can you just excuse me for half a second while I dive for my water on the other side?
I was sure she was going to ask me to go get her some water.
Yeah. Okay, hopefully I won't kick it over. I have such a modicum left. Okay, so Donna, your chart is heavy around ownership of your work environment and your health. Right now, this and the reason I focus on this is because where the Capricorn is really where we have our deepest change right now in our lives, and that falls in work, service, health. And so you are a person who has a drive to be the responsible party. All of your Capricorn, you've got North Node, which is your fortune in this life. Your sun is at 7 degrees Capricorn, Mercury at 10 degrees Capricorn, and you also have a 27-degree Chiron. And I want to say all my sympathies to you right now, because Chiron is where we are most deeply wounded in our life, okay? That is the degree that everything is going to be going over as we get to the end of the year. So currently Saturn is within 2 degrees of your Chiron, and that means that you're really feeling wounded by how things are in your work environment. And you're also, the Pluto is only 5 degrees away from that. So Pluto is going to take its time getting over that degree, but it will basically show you how you need to own your side of the deepest wounding you have. So as an example, my Chiron, I was wounded with creativity. I have it in my house of romance and creativity. That translated to not being supported growing up for my vision of myself as an artist. And that really I see is the one thing that's held me back in a lot of regard with my art career. So as planets transit over it, it's really triggered those longings to do it, but also the hurt and the wounding that I wasn't supported through that to have the kind of life I was anticipating when I was a little kid. So it's a lifetime of having to understand it. So for you, 27-degree Capricorn Chiron is about structure and government, hierarchies, and responsibility. So you're being shown that you have to take responsibility and ownership for your part of it. And I guess my point with what I told you about my life was I have to take ownership of my own creative nature. And you have to take ownership of that you're drained. And I would tell you this stellium is really draining people because it relates to the structure of things and how we go about taking action and getting a result. It's a very karmic energy because Capricorn's ruler is Saturn, and Saturn is in Capricorn right now. So it's like a doubly powerful energy. And so we're really all being shown how this energy is draining us now to always be responsible for everyone else in our environment, wherever our Capricorn is in our chart. For you, that falls into work and health. So you're so used to being the responsible party, there's nothing left to give. So you really have the lesson this time of not giving it all away and starting to focus on yourself. And that's a really hard thing for earth signs. They really are very good at giving it away. And especially when you have Capricorn in the Virgo house, because Virgo is the sign of service and the 6th house is the sign of service. So you're used to just giving away your energy for the good of the organization. And that just doesn't work for you anymore. And it's a really difficult thing when you're so used to taking the ownership and getting the results. You're getting the kudos and you're getting the, you're going up the ladder and you're getting the accolades, but it's too much. And so now you're moving forward in growth and you're realizing there are other things that you want to do that you've put aside. And now it's time to really take those seriously and make the breaks you need to make. If that means changing jobs, I would say if you don't change what you're doing for a job and potentially career, because Saturn is your career, you're going to get a very strong push to do it. Now, you also have Mars transiting your career house, just moved in, and he's just retrograding. So he's going to be going back and forth over your fame point, and that means that there is more drive for self-promotion. And so you're really good at doing that and saying, hey, I've got something to say, or I want to be heard and I'm going to get the attention. And when Mars finishes retrograde and goes back forward, it will be this tremendous push towards a career shift in tangible physical way. And so Mars going direct happens, I want to say the end of November. And then as soon as he gets back into Taurus, which is early 2021, he's going to hit your Uranus in your house of career, which is independence and autonomy and being free around money and having a whole alternative way of looking at money. So currently there's probably a dabbling in the idea of doing something for yourself or even contract work, but it's really going to come to fruition next year where you're really putting it all in early in the year, around late January, February. You're going to really be very much on the path of entrepreneurship. And definitely with Saturn and Jupiter going into Aquarius, that's reiterating that very information. But for you, those energies of Saturn and Jupiter will be going into your house of partnership. So if you are wondering what to do about, that career, having a partner is going to really help you in that future and push towards what you want to accomplish. So, yeah, anyway.
And we know the power of having a great partner with Ruth Bader
Yes.
Ginsburg and her husband. And she said she would not have been able to do it. If,
I think a lot about that. I do. Yeah. I see so many great couples and what they accomplish. You mentioned podcast earlier. There's a podcast or a video I watch about living off the grid. And this couple live off the grid. I watched the whole thing from a year ago, and they've built their own compound with a yurt and everything they need to live off the grid. They've got a garden. They've got this house that they literally built from the ground up themselves. They're about to build another one. They're going to bring other people into that one and live off the grid on this 8 acres of land in British Columbia on an island. And it's really amazing to watch what people can do when they have a partner who has the same vision. It's really important.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, we're just about out of time, but I'm going to do one more. We've got a specific question there. So thank you very much for that.
You're
and
welcome.
Donna, thank you for being here with us. We appreciate it. If you want to go ahead and pull up Christina, what do you want to go by? Lorna?
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll do Lorna. I can do two if I don't talk as much.
I will. Sorry, I've got a cattail here.
Oh, cattail, I want to see. Can you hold Kitty up?
I wanted to, so I've put Shelley's website up a few times, but I want to remind everybody the Sanctuary for Mind, Body, and Spirit. Our website is sanctuaryfl.com. And it would be great if you guys could check it out every now and then. We always add new stuff. We've got new things coming up. But we really just try to keep it just kind of a peaceful place. And there's going to be a lot more added to it with resources. Oh, do you have her info? Sorry.
Yeah, it was there, but I only got where she was born. And now my computer's thinking. So I'm waiting for it to stop thinking.
Okay,
but
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I did want to ask you, yeah, wow, my computer is so slow. Sorry about that. So I wanted to mention, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but it just kind of occurred to me that we could do webinars together if you wanted to look into doing a webinar, like, you know, $11 and I'll teach about astrology, or I can talk about a specific part of astrology, or, you know, whatever.
Exciting. If people are interested in that, let us know. Comment. If you're watching live, you can comment now. And if you're watching this once it's been recorded, feel free to put your comments in there as well, because we do see those from time to time. So, but I know there is so much to know, and you can just pull this out of the air. And
Well,
I just learned so much from listening to you.
The funny thing is, when you've done it for as long as I have, and then you do it weekly, you're always looking at what's going on, and then you have to anticipate when things are going to shift, because most people are like, when's this going to end? When's the pandemic going to end? When is this going to happen? And then you're like, oh, there's a big event happening now. So you mention that event repetitively. And so, you know, that helps to keep it in my memory. But yeah, it's, you know, over the years. And the other thing is, you get to know cycles of the planets, which is really helpful too, knowing how long a planet takes to go through a sign. So you can anticipate, wait a minute, 6 is June. So you can anticipate when the planets will shift without having the table of a chart of planets. You know, it really helps. So, yeah. Okay, I think I've got her. Sorry about that. And let's see, did I make it go? Okay, come on. There we go. All right. 2, and I've almost got her. So you said she did or didn't have a question?
She does, and she is interested to know about potentially getting pregnant.
Oh, it's a good time. It's similar to Emily. I want to say that, but you have the stellium of Capricorn in your house of children as well. But your stellium is almost on the way out, and currently Saturn just exited, so that is a good opportunity, but it's retrograde, so you really need it to go direct, which is Monday. And then I do see that there's a strong potential, especially when Jupiter and Saturn join up, which is going to be the end of the year. I've got chills with that. So November, December is going to be a strong time for that potential. Okay. And yeah, I mean, I've just got chills. Like, I would even say to the point where that's even possibly already happened. That strong. So Moon is 6 degrees away from Jupiter. Moon is an indicator, and it's about to join up with Jupiter overnight. So honestly, if you're seriously thinking about it, tonight could be a great night. But yeah, it's creating a physical structure of something in the house of romance, creativity, and children. So yeah, it looks really good. And then let me see, you have a 7-degree Neptune in Capricorn. Moon just went over that today as well. And there's also you're coming up on a major shift in your relationship where it actually will get deeper in the next couple years. So I'm just, and having Neptune in your 7th or 8th house is also a really big indicator of children, because there's a strong connection between the marriage and then the commitment of the marriage and children in a chart. And you've also got Mars currently. See, the thing with what I'm seeing right now for you is the 2 indicators of moving forward are both retrograde right now. And that means that there is wrapping up of some energy in an old story. And then when you've wrapped up that old story, and I want to say there for your commitment house, you're having a little bit of agitation, and there might even be some money concerns because Mars is going through your house of joint finance and it's retrograde. So there might be some agitation going on with that. When Mars goes direct, which, like I said, will be, I want to say November, you're going to be able to move forward. And then everything really kind of springs loose in mid-December. So I would say definitely the end of the year looks really good for that to happen. and specifically indicated in your chart as well. So, yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds very promising.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, on that note, have a good night, Christina.
Yeah. You know what? If we do these, I think I need a ring light.
Okay, all right, we'll make that a goal.
Right? Okay, I might do that.
Yeah. Well, so I think we can do this at least every other week, Shelley.
That'd be awesome. I would love to. I actually like communicating with others when I do these events.
Yeah,
Really,
we've always got things to talk about, and the things that come up in these little mini readings are really great. So, and your website is on there. If people are interested in getting a little bit more in-depth reading, they can contact you through the website. Your prices are extremely reasonable, and you get so much detail for really throughout a year or more, right?
Yeah, and I send if you get a birthday reading, which I had today, I'll give information for the coming year or even a full reading. And then I send a recording of that reading to you within 24 hours so that you have it to listen back to again, because it comes really fast. I mean, you can write notes, but kind of like today, there's this, and this, and I got this. So it's a lot. I understand.
Yeah. Well, great information. I really appreciate it. Our time's about up.
Awesome.
So
it's fun.
Your website is up here, and I'm going to remind everybody about the Sanctuary website here, sanctuaryfl.com. Spirit Fest Sarasota is coming up October 9th and 10th. The information, more details are on the website. We have Spirit Fest in Melbourne, October 31st and November 1st. That was rescheduled from the beginning of August when we had a hurricane threaten to come our way. So if anybody has any questions or anything, our contact information is on the website, but we look forward to seeing everybody more, and we really appreciate everybody joining us. So we'll say good night for now.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. And please check out her website, because she's awesome, and she's got so many events going on, and I know that they're all posted. And also don't forget her Facebook page and Instagram, because she's on
right.
Yeah.
You'll find us all, and we're even starting to get a little bit more active on Twitter now.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good.
Getting up to speed. So
awesome.
Anyway, thank you again, Shelley, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yay, thanks. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Nice talking to you.